What's up, guys? Do you like that fade? That's a setting on the camera. Normally, I used to want to do that, kind of fade in and fade out, just kind of gives like a dramatic effect. I would have to edit, upload, not upload, but buffer these huge file sizes in video editors. Just a bitch. It was not fun. But hey, tell me how you like the light and everything. It's just about perfect, I think. The wood looks rich. The Chris Reed blue towel looks blue and not purple. Everything looks fairly good. I was using 13 watt compact fluorescent bulbs, and they were at 2700 Kelvin. And even if I set this camera at 2700, it just didn't look right for some reason. So I went and bought higher output lights. So I have 23 watt compact fluorescents in here now, and they're at 3500 Kelvin, and it's making a big difference. I think that this is a good compromise between color and depth and clarity and all that kind of stuff. Tell me if you think it's well lit. I think it's pretty well lit. I have a good work area. If I don't have this towel here, I have this huge, pretty much just bright spot because of how bright the lights are above me. So I'm going to keep this here to kind of keep that to a minimum if I can. Anyway, let me know what you think of the color and everything. I feel like it's doing pretty good. I want to talk about the Leatherman Charge today. It's something that I don't talk about a lot as multi-tools. But this thing is probably one of my favorite tools that I've owned. It can pinch the hell out of you like it just did me. Right there, just pinch the shit out of me. That hurt. Multi-tools, especially Leathermans, I don't know why they're built. They're built with these sharp corners that can really pinch you if you're not careful. Like that's a pinch point right there when it closes. There's just a bunch of pinch points. But this is the Leatherman Charge TTi. Pretty much one of their top of the line multi-tools. It's kind of based on the Wave model. The Wave is just kind of their consumer grade of this, I guess, the more affordable model of this. But this is essentially a Wave with titanium scales added onto it and upgraded features. One thing that you get pretty much that's a big selling point for me with the Leatherman Wave, or the Leatherman Charge TTi, is the S30V blade. It's the only Leatherman to come with an S30V blade. Their heat treat is not, it's not going to be Spyderco or Kershaw S30V. It performs about like CRK's S30V did, and about like their S35VN does today. Doesn't hold its edge forever, but it's going to be a huge step up from the 420HC and 154CM that they use in their cheaper models. This S30V will lose its fine edge pretty quickly, but it will retain a working cutting edge many times longer than the 420HC or the 154CM will. This will keep cutting when those are beyond dull. So that's good. Their knife blade is good. It's got nice geometry. It's thin at the edge. Sharpened by a machine, so you don't get funky edge grinds, really. I've seen one, actually, my friend's Leatherman Charge TTi had a funky edge on it, and he exchanged it. First one I've ever seen with that, because they are sharpened by machines. They're just ran between two wheels, and it sharpens them. But normally you'll get a sharp edge that's easy to maintain on the Sharp Maker. Comes with great geometry for the Sharp Maker. You get a nice shallow edge bevel that's easy to maintain on the Sharp Maker. One thing about the knife on a Leatherman is that it's kind of off center, as you can see. You have this big bulky multi-tool in your hand, and the blade is off to one side, it can make cutting awkward if you're doing a lot of cutting. If you're going to open a box or a package or trim some plastic, cut some paracord, it's great for that. But if you're going to be doing a lot of cutting, breaking down boxes or anything like that, grab yourself a dedicated knife. This will work, and it'll cut very well. But just because it's off center and you just have this big bulky kind of sharp handle, it is fatiguing for cutting in extended circumstances. But again, it's a multi-tool. The more tools you add to it, the less functionality you get from each tool. That's not my idea. That's S.R. Jobin's philosophy there, and it's right on point. With a multi-tool, the more tools you add, the less functional each tool gets, and that's exactly right. There's no denying that. The knife, blade, and all outer implements is held on with a liner lock. Good lock. It's not going to be as strong as a knife. A dedicated liner lock is just not going to be. It's a thin piece of steel. It will do its job. It will keep the blade from closing on you in most circumstances, even if you're doing something stupid. And that's all it's for. You don't cut with a spine, you cut with the edge, and it will. It's definitely more than adequate to keep the blade open when you're not using it. All the outer implements, I'll go over them. You have the S30V blade, obviously. You have this file, which I love. I love this file, this side of the file, and I love the diamond side. You can actually sharpen an edge on this file right here. I've actually done it. A lot of people complain about the diamonds stripping out of it, but as long as you don't really bear down on whatever you're cutting with the diamonds, they'll stay in the matrix. So you won't be stripping the diamonds out of the matrix if you don't use a whole lot of pressure on the diamond file. This will work for softened metal, but if you're going to try and file on a hardened knife blade or something, it'll just skate right across. Again, good file, no vertical play, nothing like that. The diamond file is extremely handy. On this side, you have a serrated knife made out of their 420HC. Again, liner lock. Everything on the outer implementation is a liner lock. Good serrated knife. Since it's serrated, it will keep cutting even after it's dull, just because it's serrated. You have a nice gut hook here, and the gut hook is actually fairly functional. I found that a great way to sharpen these gut hooks is just using a felt pad on a Dremel with green compound and just buffing it, and you can make it sharp enough to kind of awkward to do, but it will slice phone book paper. Well, it was slicing phone book paper. I look like an idiot on camera now, but take my word for it. Right after I sharpened it, it was slicing phone book paper. I mean, I could just rip right through a page and cut cleanly. I don't know what the deal is now. I mean, it's still biting into my skin. I don't know if you can... if you'll be able to see it. I mean, you can see it biting into my skin right there. That's a pretty sharp edge. I'm not putting much force on that. So yeah, it will definitely cut flesh or seat belts or anything you need it to. Keeping it sharp with a Dremel felt wheel loaded with compound is really easy. The serrated knife is good. I like it. Over here you have a wood saw, again held open with a liner lock. Nice thin stock, as you can see, aggressive teeth. What can I say? It's a wood saw and it works. It's thin, very thin, so you have a not a really wide kerf. It just works. I mean, you can zip through some wood pretty quickly with that since it's so aggressive. That pretty much covers the outer implements, and the outer implements I found are some of the most used. I would like to trade out the wood saw with something like scissors. I wish that they would do that. Put the wood saw on the inside, move the scissors on the outside, because I honestly use scissors way more than a wood saw, and I would venture to say that most people do too. But again, it's a multi-tool. You get what you can take, or get what you can get, and be happy with it, right? On the inside, all the implements are locking. This tab right here is what locks the inner implements out. So say you pull the scissors out, this tab will fall into a notch and lock them open. When you're ready to not use them, or ready to put them away, push that down and put them away. It's kind of a modified back lock in a way. As far as the inner implements go, there are a couple that I don't use at all. I'll just go ahead and go over those first. The tiny driver, you have a Phillips head and a flat head. I guess if you wear spectacles, eyeglasses, that would be great. I don't. I wear contacts, so this is pretty much useless. There are some instances where this is really, really useful, but those circumstances are pretty rare, honestly. You have a nice flathead screwdriver. This is pretty useful. I honestly like this a good bit. You have a nice, beefy, strong flathead screwdriver. As with all the inner implements, you can open them and then close the multi-tool and use it like this, although most of the time I find myself just popping them open and using them and then putting them away. Along with the tiny bit driver and the flathead, you have the scissors, which you've already seen. The scissors are honestly really good. They could be stronger and they could be bigger in my opinion, but they work fairly well. They'll cut pretty strong things. Anything much stronger than a piece of paracord, which is honestly kind of tough to cut with scissors these small. Anything much tougher than that, and you'll actually bend the blades out from each other, and the material will just kind of slip through the blades instead of being sheared off. What can you expect from scissors this small? For it to be able to snip through a piece of 550 cord in one snip is honestly pretty good for me. I can deal with that. Anything much tougher, and you might as well just use a knife blade on. But if you need to do some fine cutting, scissors work well for that, and they do stay sharp. On the other side, you have a larger bit driver and a bottle opener, can opener, and wire stripper. The bit driver is great. You can get many different bits from Leatherman. You can get Torx, you could get Allen to fit your knives, and you could get a huge assortment of these flathead and Phillips head. Flathead work great. The Phillips head leave a little bit to be desired. Just because they're this pseudo 3D Phillips head, it's not the full round heads because it's got to be flattened. But it does work. In some instances, you would be better off with a full 3D Phillips head, but in a pinch, it does work. That's pretty much it for the inner implements. The can opener works okay. Can opener on a Swiss Army knife works better, honestly. Wire stripper, you can do that with a blade and much easier, in my opinion. Bottle opener, it doesn't work so great for that. But again, the more tools you pack in this thing, the less effective each tool is going to be. Now, the shining star of this thing is the pliers, in my opinion. You have really nice needle nose pliers. If you see mine look weird, I boogered them up and then Scotch Brighted them. Didn't really want it to look pretty, I just wanted it to not be gouged up. But they work pretty good. You have nice needle nose pliers, you have regular pliers right where my finger is, you have wire cutters. They work great. I mean, what can I say? You can really put some grip force on these and not worry about breaking it. I mean, the teeth do break in some undue circumstances, but honestly, I've put a ton of grip force on this thing and even a twisting moment, and they didn't break. So the teeth are really rigid too. You don't have to worry about them bending or anything. If you grab something and twist, you don't have to worry about the teeth warping or bending. I mean, they're strong. I don't know how they're treated. I'm sure they're heat treated in some way, but don't exactly know, so I can't speak to that. Uh, all in all, I think everybody should own one of these, honestly. If you like Swiss Army knives, I don't see why you wouldn't like this as well. They're two totally different things that serve totally different roles, in my opinion. I mean, a Swiss Army knife is meant to be in your pocket all day and handle the light tasks that it can handle. This is meant to be sort of a emergency tool, kind of catch-all, do anything tool. And Leatherman has a great warranty. If you break it, they'll fix it or send you a new one. I mean, that's pretty much the best warranty you could ask for. If it's between this or any of Leatherman's full-size multi-tools, I would still go with this. I own the Super Tool 300, I own the Wave, I own the Charge ALX, which is the aluminum model. This one is my favorite out of all of them, honestly. It just has the tools that I want and the construction that I like, and the blade, the S30V blade. I like that more than anything else that they come with. Definitely more than the 420HC and a little bit more than the 154CM. But yeah, a great tool. I mean, it's right at $100, I think. I don't know, it's been a couple years since I bought this, but that's a good testament to the build quality. I've had this for 2 or 3 years now, I think. There's no wiggle in the handles. I mean, just a little bit. Still solid. It's not floppy, but it's just a well-built tool. A really well-built tool. So yeah, not really a review, just kind of my ideas on it, my thoughts. I guess it did kind of turn into a pseudo review, but let me know what you think of the lighting and the white balance and everything. I think it looks really good. Pretty much spot on. It's making this towel look a little bit more blue than it really is, at least to my eyes. But I don't know how it's going to look on screen. But anyway, let me know, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.